So, Tenet. I finally got to see it yesterday, and well, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. I'll start off with this. I finally realised why Christopher Nolan's films feel kind of emotionless. And this is something that kind of crystallized for me with Tenet, which is that all of Christopher Nolan's characters sound exactly the same. And I mean exactly the same. They all sound like him. In the same way that we often criticize like Tarantino for having characters who sound just like him. Like they don't talk like normal people. Like a Tarantino character is a Tarantino creation. And I finally realised that it's the same with Christopher Nolan's characters. So, with Christopher Nolan's characters, you get this sense that they're not just underdeveloped characters, they are effectively kind of a kind of a trope. They are just archetypes. So, to the extent that in Tenet, um, the archetypal protagonist is actually called the protagonist. He doesn't have a name because why does he need to? He's just a CIA agent who acts as the protagonist for the film, and he is referred to as the protagonist. So there's that. And that's the thing about the Christopher Nolan characters, which is there's nothing to hang on to. They are just simply moving chess pieces, and it's never been more clear that that's the problem with a Christopher Nolan character. And to a certain extent, it's not even a problem because you go into a Christopher Nolan film almost expecting that. These are chess pieces to be moved around and they play their parts. You know, it's like Shakespeare. All the world's a stage, and everyone's just playing a part, and that's what they're doing. They just chess pieces being moved into place. There is one character who expresses some kind of emotion, who has a kind of narrative, emotional arc to her, and it's also problematic in its own way. And when you watch it, you can tell. So there's a joke about Christopher Nolan's films being not great towards the towards the wife of a character, and it is so much worse in Tenet. Like there's an honest trailer that just it's just like a series of examples about how the wife of a character in a Christopher Nolan film doesn't end up well, you know. And yeah, Tenet is very much the same to an even more more heightened extent. It's even worse, basically. Um, so, what did I think of the film? I think the film looks fantastic, which is damning with faint praise. But it really is. It is ambitious in terms of the scope, it is ambitious in terms of the concept, it is ambitious in terms of the execution of the set pieces. The set pieces are amazing. Like, I mean, when you watch the film and you see those action set pieces, at no point do you feel like, oh, I'm taken out of it. You are in it. You are so in it. It is exciting. It is tense, even though you know what's happened, and or sorry, even though you know that these characters are somehow going to come out the other end all right. So, you know, it's a typical action set piece in a film. You know the hero character is not going to die. You know the protagonist is not going to die. Nothing bad is going to befall the protagonist. You see, you know that when you watch a Mission Impossible film, you know that when you see Tom Cruise going through an action set piece, you know they're going to come out fine. But it's, I mean, that's why it's doubly impressive when the director's able to still create tension with an action set piece when you know the protagonist of Tenet is going to come out the other end okay. It's doubly impressive when a certain set piece is repeated in Tenet. That's not a spoiler, by the way. That is shown in the film trailer itself. That's not a spoiler. So it's incredibly impressive that he's able to create these amazing action set pieces that not just they don't just look real because they are real. Just watch any kind of behind the scenes material for Tenet or any of his films. They feel so real, they feel so visceral, and the tension is so well done. It's just an incredibly well done set piece. And there are several of these set pieces throughout the film. It's what ties them together. It's what ties them together. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. There are many scenes of exposition. So many scenes of exposition. I mean, it's exposition after exposition after exposition. And my goodness, it's. If you thought Inception was confusing, I mean, compared to Tenet, Inception's like the ABCs. It's the simplest thing in the world. If you can't wrap your head around Inception, you are not going to wrap your head around Tenet. But you should still see it, just for those action set pieces. Now here's the thing: exposition is made worse by first of all being inaudible. So there are many scenes where key lines of exposition is relayed in a very thick accent, or it's actually like it's inaudible because somebody's wearing a face mask. Very, very 2020 of Christopher Nolan. Like, there are so many face masks in this film. There's so many people breathing through tubes and breathing with the aid of like a full face shield and face mask. My goodness, it's so appropriate to 2020. Uh, but yeah, so there are so many scenes of exposition, and the first problem is it's not always audible. And then the second problem is it's it's conveyed in such a low energy way. Like, objectively, some of the editing choices and some of the direction is bad. It's just bad. It's low energy, it's confusing, and it's an important piece of dialogue that relays the plot. And yeah, it's not a good way of doing exposition. But yeah, that's the film. There's a lot to explain, and it's basically just getting you from one set piece to another. And from basically the first hour, no, I would say like the first 20 minutes, you're going to understand what he's trying to get to. You know where this is going. You know, you look at the title of the film, Tenet. What is Tenet? Tenet, aside from all its other meanings, is also a palindrome, as in it's the same backwards as it is forwards. You know where the film is going. You know what the concept of the film is. And it's incredibly ambitious. And by the end, you kind of get the gist of it. It's not all going to fit together neatly. In fact, I mean, there's no point discussing plot holes because the film itself doesn't doesn't care that it doesn't fit together as neatly as it should. It's not a kind of Inception, it's not like a well designed machine. It's you get the gist of what the film is trying to do, you get the concept, and you get the kind of action set pieces which forms the beats of the film. And that's what you're getting with Tenet. It doesn't fit together neatly. It's incredibly confusing. And but but I would say that it's so worth watching it in the cinema, because you're seeing a director who has completely embraced his vision. Like, from this point on, he's not going to do anything different. Like, he has become a complete auteur in that you can recognize a Christopher Nolan film from a mile away, and he is now stuck in this. This is the peak of his powers. He does action set pieces using real stunts, using using as much kind of in-camera techniques as possible and as little CGI as possible to create the most cinematic set pieces. This is a director at the height of his powers, and the film is not going to please everyone. The film, you're going to watch a Christopher Nolan film like you watch a Tarantino film. Like, oh yeah, I like a Tarantino film, or I like a Wes Anderson film. There is a style, and he's sticking to it, and it's going to piss some people off. But it's not just for fans. It's just for fans of cinema, not just fans of Christopher Nolan. As fans of cinema, this is a fantastic film because it does so many things. I mean, that's why people are discussing it as like the savior of cinema in these times. It's because it is the ultimate cinema experience. Even if it confuses the heck out of you, there are action set pieces that are just incredible, and a concept that is incredibly cinematic, and people in great nice suits, and amazing costumes, and great production design, and car chases, and world trotting kind of espionage missions. I mean, it's Christopher Nolan doing a James Bond film that's filled with even more plot holes than a typical James Bond film. But honestly, as a cinema experience, very few things beats it. Like, can you watch this at home, on Netflix? Sure, but there are very few films where you kind of think, I would have wanted to watch that in a cinema. And a Christopher Nolan film is one of those films where you really want to watch it in a cinema at least once. So, yeah, overall, what did I think of the film? I think, for me, fantastic. And I applaud the ambition even when it doesn't work. Um, it's There are objectively weird and confusing decisions, but at the same time, in terms of like being a well directed action thriller with very kind of confusing physics and concepts, it's a fantastic film in the mold of Christopher Nolan film. He's now, he was an auteur. He was always an auteur, but now he's producing films that fit a particular style. You know what you're getting when you're watching a Christopher Nolan film. You're going to get amazing action set pieces. You're going to get fantastic cinematography. You're going to get in-camera effects. You're going to get stunts that are real. It's going to be directed. It's going to be on film. It's actually going to be filmed on film. And it's all the downsides are going to be there as well. You're going to have characters that are woefully underdeveloped. You're going to get fairly emotionless characters delivering exposition with low energy. You know, these are all the kind of downsides. Basically, like, you know, it goes back to whether or not you like this director's vision, whether or not you like this auteur. When you watch a Tarantino film, every character sounds like a Tarantino character. They all sound the same. They're the same person because they are written by the same person. And every character in a Christopher Nolan film sounds the same, and they all sound like him, and they were also dressed like him. So that's what you get to. So yeah, for all of that, I'm gonna say, of course, if you're willing to go into a cinema to watch it, watch it. It is a fantastic cinema experience. Don't think if it all fits together neatly. Forget about it making complete sense. Just experience it. Let it wash over you. You know what the concept is. Just watch a master at work. You know, just watch him trying to fulfill this ambition. It's a very ambitious film, and you know, even if even if the director fulfills like 75% of his vision, it's more than what most other films will do. It's more than what other directors will do in a lifetime. So, Tenet, go check it out.